Hello and welcome to Galaxy Primetime News. My name is Nenwa Ngimazaka. I will begin with the headlines. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu declares that the development of northern Nigeria remains fundamental to the nation's prosperity. The National Assembly receives Tinubu's letter seeking approval to borrow 1.767 trillion naira as part of the 2024 Appropriation Act. On the foreign scene, Ukraine fires U.S. supply long-range missiles into Russia a day after Washington gave its permission for such attacks. Details of these and more will come to you shortly. Stay with us. And now the news in full. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu declared on Tuesday that the development of northern Nigeria remains fundamental to the nation's prosperity. Accordingly, the president unveiled a comprehensive youth development strategy spanning multiple key sectors to drive Nigeria's economic transformation. Speaking during a stakeholders roundtable on northern youth development organized by Sir Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation in Abuja, President Tinubu, who was represented by his Deputy Vice President Kashim Shettima, invoked the legacy of the late Sardauna of Sokoto and former Premier of Northern Nigeria. The President warned that whatever disrupts the growth of one region sets back the entire nation. On agriculture, President Tinubu emphasized the North's strategic importance, saying investment in agriculture and industrialization will further position the North as Nigeria's foremost agricultural hub. Earlier, former governor of Niger State and chairman of the foundation's board of trustees, Dr. Muazu Babangida Aliu, noted that the event marked the foundation's 15th anniversary. Also, the Sultan of Sokoto, His Eminence Mohammed Saad Abubakar II, emphasized the critical role of youth education in national development, saying the youth are the foundation of any development Nigeria envisage. President Bola Tinubu has written to the Nigerian Senate seeking approval of a fresh $2.2 billion as a new external borrowing plan in the 2024 Appropriation Act. The President's request was read by President of the Senate Godswill Akpabio during plenary on Tuesday. If approved, the loan will be used to part finance the budget deficit of 9.7 trillion naira for the 2024 budget.
Request for a resolution of the National Assembly for the implementation of the new external borrowing of $0.767,610,321,779.00. That's about 2.209 billion US dollars.
Correspondent Kulojo reports that President Tinubu also transmitted medium-term expenditure framework and the fiscal strategy paper 2025 to 2027 to the Parliament for consideration and approval. Also forwarded was the National Social Investment Program Establishment Amendment Bill to make the Social Register the primary tool for the implementation of the federal government's social welfare programs. President Tinubu also sought confirmation of 3 nominees as commissioners for the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC.
It is with pleasure that I forward here with the 2025 to 2027 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper, MTEF and FSP, for a kind consideration and approval by the Senate. The 2025-2027 MTEF and FSP was approved during the Federal Executive Council meeting of 10th day of November 2024.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has written to the National Assembly seeking approval to borrow 1.767 trillion naira as part of the 2024 Appropriation Act to address the budget's deficit. The letter, read by Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas during Tuesday's plenary session, revealed that the 2024 budget has a 9.7 trillion naira deficit. The proposed loan is aimed at reducing this figure to 8 billion naira.
To request for a resolution of the National Assembly to raise the sum of 1,767,610,321,779 naira, equivalent of 2,209,512,902 at the budget exchange rate of USD 1 to 800 naira.
In a separate correspondence dated November 19, 2024, President Tinubu also transmitted the 2025 to 2027 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper to the National Assembly for legislative review. He urged the lawmakers to expedite their consideration and passage of the 3-year financial plan, emphasizing that timely approval would facilitate the preparation of the 2025 federal budget.
It is with pleasure that I forward herewith the 2025 to 2027 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper, MTEF and FSP, for the kind consideration and approval by the House of Representatives. The 2025 to 2027 MTEF and FSP was approved during the Federal Executive Council meeting of 10th November 2024. The purpose of the bill is to make the National Social Register the primary targeting tool for the implementation of social investment programs of government. This will ensure our social welfare programs are data-driven and implementation processes are transparent, targeted, dynamic, and effective in delivering social protection benefits to vulnerable Nigerians.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Senate on Tuesday held a valedictory session to pay tribute in honor of late Senator Ifeanyi Ubah, who until his demise on July 27, 2024, represented Anambra South Senatorial District. Lawmakers took turns to eulogize the late senator, saying his sad demise remained a huge loss, not just to his state, but the country at large.
Tried to build a football academy in the Navy, and he was ready to London the same night. I asked him, how can you be doing these things? You are just coming from US, you are in Navy, you are running back to London, and this is the journey that he did not come back. I want to console the family, the wife, the children. These are things that happen every day, but we must accept the will of God. It's not our will, it's His will.
First of all, we are in anger, very disappointed. But we take solemn in the injunction from the Bible that God owns life. If you mention 10 most of 7 business people in Nigeria, you will find distinguished Senator Ifeanyi Ubah. You will also find very distinguished Senator Jimoh Ibrahim among the 10. If you mention 20 people that are very active and carry on national assignments, we solemn in this chamber.
We must take lessons from life of Ifeanyi Ubah. He was full of life, much younger than many of us in this Senate. But because we all go to God and go back to Him at His own time, God had decided to call him, and He had left us. It's not about his age. It's not about his position. It's not about his wealth. We must take lessons in his life, in his humanity, in his philanthropy, and continue to be kind to our people.
Correspondent Kuluju reports that the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, said Uba's death was a huge loss to the Senate, the National Assembly, and the All Progressive Congress. Senator Akpabio, who also consoled with the immediate family of Senator Uba, said the late politician, until his death at 52, was an accomplished lawmaker and businessman.
Ifeanyi Uba was an accomplished businessman and politician. Within the short span of life that he lived, he made impact on the lives of thousands of people. A notable scholar, Ajayi Abimbola, once averred that a life is never productive until it makes an impact on the lives of others. So Lady Ifeanyi Uba's life did and made enormous impact on the lives of others and was very, very productive.
According to him, life is never truly forgotten if one makes impact on the life of others. The leader of the Northern Regional Caucus in the House of Representatives, Honorable El-Hassan Adu Doguwa, has assured that Northern lawmakers will prioritize national interest in the consideration of the 4 tax reform bills. Speaking at the tax reform interaction organized by the House of Representatives in Abuja, Doguwa emphasized that the bills will be carefully studied to ensure fairness and alignment with Nigeria's economic realities. He said the bills aim at addressing fiscal federalism and resource sharing among federating units and institutions, adding that lawmakers will not rush the process to avoid enacting ineffective laws. Doguwa highlighted national interest as the guiding principle, acknowledging the government's intentions while stressing the need to educate and enlighten the public.
The livelihood of the people. The most important thing for us as members representing our people is to get to know what's about it. What is it? What's up? And this is what we are doing. So I would like to say, without mincing words, that the initiative of the leaders to engage members, to broaden up our understanding in the perspective of what are the content and the context of the law is all about, I think is a very good one. And if there is anything we members can now say at the moment is that it should be work in progress.
He commended the House leadership for organizing the interactive session, noting it enhanced members' understanding of the bills. Doguwa called for continued consultations at state and regional levels to build awareness among lawmakers and stakeholders.
I don't want to look at it as a northern or southern affair. This is something that has to do with fiscal federalism. Take it or not. Fiscal federalism has a lot of implications, and fiscal federalism has a lot of fears and concern in a federal system of government like the one we are running in the country. But thank God, like I said, with the little engagement we have started getting from the sponsors of the bill, especially those who are now giving us this kind of lectures, I'm sure members are getting clearer picture.
So I believe the policy is in the interest of the country, and I so much believe that at the end of the day, people will understand why we are here and then why we are doing all this. So I so much believe that we'll learn a lot, we will be more enlightened, and then even the public will understand even the integrity of the bill. So by so doing, I think the further consultation will be taking place at all levels, both at the level of from the other stakeholders, the National Assembly, the Executive, and so many other things will come to play, by God's grace.
You're still on to Galaxy Primetime News, and coming up next. A group of Edo residents protest to the State Secretariat of the Nigerian Union of Journalists over the high surge in cult-related killings in the state. Details of these and more will come to you shortly. Do stay with us. We're glad to have you back. Now, for more updates and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect to us on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/GalaxyTVNews. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GalaxyTV. Remember to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Galaxy TV. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live update and comment, as you can easily scan our IG QR code. The House of Representatives has condemned the recent brutal attack by unknown gunmen in the Abeted Opo community of Anambra State and the convoy of Honorable Ginger Onwusibe. In adopting a motion of urgent public importance moved by Honorable Uchenna Okonkwo, the House urged the Anambra State government to provide immediate relief and compensation to the victims and their families. It also called for the rebuilding and rehabilitation of the affected areas. Furthermore, the House appealed to community leaders, traditional rulers and other stakeholders to collaborate with security agencies to identify and address the root causes of insecurity in the region.
Alarmed by the brazen attack that occurred on the morning of the 18th of November 2024 in the communities of Abatete, Idemili North local government and Ukpo, resulting in the tragic death toll of about 10 individuals, including the President General of Abatete alongside other innocent victims, as well recognizing the attack that was done on the convoy of Honorable Ginger Onwusibe.
In another resolution, the House resolved to launch urgent investigation into the outbreak of disease at the Kaduna Correctional Facility. In a motion by Honorable Umar Ajilo, the aim is to determine the cause of the outbreak, prevent future occurrences, and safeguard the health and well-being of inmates and staff.
The facility has been splotched by a menstrual disease outbreak, resulting in a significant loss of lives amongst inmate populations. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, these disturbing trends necessitated immediate attention and actions from our esteemed Assembly.
The lower chamber also expressed concern over the non-functionality of 87 skills acquisition centers across the country.
Status of skill acquisition centers in the 6 geopolitical zones of Nigeria managed by the National Directorate of Employment (NDE) reveals a critical need for revitalization. Many centers across various states are non-functional, largely due to building dilapidation, vandalization, and lack of maintenance. Essential resources and tools for training are often missing or outdated.
Money, politics and vote buying is gradually taking over the beauty of electioneering in Nigeria. Political parties and their candidates no longer bother about good and enticing manifestos but muzzle up funds to pay the electorate on election day. This trend, if not checked, may subvert development of the society. Galaxy News correspondent Lebby Joseph takes a look at these developments in this report.
Era of Togri, ballot snatching and stuffing is fading out of the Nigerian political space and ironically being replaced by the monstrous vote buying. With the level of poverty in the land, the people see this development as a saving grace.
Money politics, you see, the syndrome of Diboko Sebe seems to have come to stay with the system. You see, the presidential system of government allows for lobby. And people will lobby with what they have. And because our nation is swimming in corruption, it is pretty difficult to dissuade the citizenry from collecting this Diboko Sebe syndrome, from collecting this money.
So the problem is not with the INEC now. is more with the voters themselves. Because if the allegation of sharing money is actually true, it takes two to tango. If the people the voters have rejected money, then there will be no issue of evil inducement.
Money politics, is a thing that has been happening in Nigeria, but it's unfortunate that the electoral money that the people that they are buying the vote for collected, they will only use it for a particular period, and after the election, we are still go back to square one.
It's important for Nigerians to come together and work against vote buying, and the only sure way is for INEC to ensure that voters cast their votes away from the prying eyes of party agents who are looking around, waiting to confirm those that vote for their parties for onward payment.
Nigeria would need, on a very, very, very serious note, Nigeria would need to look at how do we prevent this from happening, because there have been all manners of issues around that people had raised, that there were issues of money exchanging and across all the political parties. This is not just about one party. Maybe one may spend more than the other, but all
because collecting that money is automatically selling his or her conscience or her future. Selling the future of our children, because some of them even cannot even boast of paying their children's school fees.
Well, it's the system that is the corruption. Even if you try to demonize anybody that Mr. So is corrupt, the other person is corrupt, the system is the corruption in itself. Unless that, you see, the electoral law is amended, the system by which we appoint our leader, we need to change it.
This trend has completely subverted the wish of the people, and many registered voters are no more interested in coming out to vote. From Lagos, this is Lebby Joseph reporting for Galaxy TV News.
The Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TETFund, has stressed the need for massive and continuous investment in the Nigeria's healthcare system. The chairman of the TETFund Board of Trustees, Honorable Aminu Bello Mesari, who made the revelation at the inauguration of the Ad Hoc Committee on Medical Simulation and Innovation Special Intervention on Tuesday in Abuja. Correspondent Kunujo reports that said the initiative, which is part of Fund's commitment to support government effort to transform Nigeria's healthcare system, would, among other things, address patient safety and quality of care. He said it is introducing a special intervention in medical simulation and innovation under its 2025 intervention. He emphasized the importance of medical training and research, describing them as critical to the sustenance of any society.
The intervention is targeted to enhancing the capacity of public tertiary institutions to deliver on their mandate. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, medical training and research are critical to the sustenance of any society. However, considering the state of our public healthcare system,
Also speaking, the Executive Secretary of TETFund, Architect Sonny Etrono, said effort was being made to improve the enrollment of staff in medical facilities, adding that the simulation technology will assist regulatory institutions in medical and dental council to increase the quota of each institution for more intakes.
Meeting what has become a very critical area of national need. We are grateful that concerted efforts have been made, not only to increase enrollment in our faculties and specialized universities for medical and health sciences. The simulation technology is intended to assist in doing this by enabling the regulatory agencies, the medical and dental associations, to increase the quotas for each of these institutions so that we can increase intake. It will be recalled that medicine and health sciences
The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has said that the Nigerian police is enhancing the security of lives and property across the country. The IGP made this known in Asaba, the Delta State capital, during the commissioning of 31 operational vehicles received from the Delta State government. The IGP, who is on a working visit to Delta State, received the vehicles at the State Government House in Asaba. Speaking at the brief ceremony with sister agencies and government officials in attendance, the Inspector General of Police stressed on the effort of the police in tackling crime. Responding, the host and Delta State Governor Sheriff Ubuveri said the rebranding of the state security outfit, christened Operation Delta Sweep, is to intensify the fight against criminal elements in the state.
Then with regards to what we are doing to enhance security all over the state, we are not concentrating in a particular area or state. We are focusing on the whole country. We have in place our tactical units deployed all over, responding to distress situations in all the states of the Federation. We are not only deploying them, we are training them.
The rebranding of the task force as Operation Delta Sweep is to reflect the zeal and determination of this administration to reduce crime and crime-related activities to the barest minimum in the state. We want to sweep the state clean of criminal elements and dissidents.
As part of efforts to sustain the fight against crude oil theft and all forms of illegalities in the Niger Delta region, the Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of the Federal Government Contracted Security Outfit Tantita, High Chief Government Ekpemupolo, alias also known as Tompolo, said the step on lots of tolls in achieving the 1.8 million barrels per day oil production. He made a disclosure in Oporoza, headquarters of Baramara 2 Kingdom, when he received the NBA president and his team. Our correspondent, Daily Fason, completes the story.
The NBA president, Mazi Afam Osigwe, SAN, who led members of his executive council to the coastal community of Baramatu, visited the traditional ruler, His Royal Majesty Oborok Baram II, where he met with Tantito chairman and other stakeholders. Speaking on the challenges in protecting oil facilities, the Tantito Chief Executive Officer called on the NBA leadership and stakeholders to support the genuine fight against oil theft.
Stepping on a lot of toes, which are the big boys over there in Lagos and Abuja, because most of the times you will see that Tantita security will not have this confrontation with Nigerian Navy and all that. Every well-meaning Nigeria know the function of Nigerian Navy and Tantita now, but nobody wants to come out to face the truth. If we happen to arrest anybody today, you either employ a lawyer from Lagos, senior advocate from Ibadan or Abuja, who can be able to do your case very well. But now that you are here, from what the GMB said, the production has increased to 1.8.
On their part, the NBA president commended Tantita for the increase in daily oil production, as the Tantito chairman appealed for collaboration in this time of economic hardship.
After our next meeting, we were glad to read the announcement by the NNPC of the GMD CEO that oil production has, for first time in many years, risen to 1.8 million barrels per day, with the prospects of rising to about 2 million barrels per day by December. And we thought that this was very important because in the last few years, Nigeria has been borrowing to fund its budget. Nigeria has been borrowing to pay salaries and execute many projects. And our understanding of economy, which we are not experts in, even though we are learned men and women, is that if the country earns more from oil, which we produce, we will be able to borrow less, and the government will be able to do some of the developmental activities and put infrastructures in place expected of government.
Let you know today that the presence of the government is a peaceful far from us. All this we are saying is it Komurwa? No. effort, our elites, our big boys, all you are seeing here is their own effort, you are seeing. We produce the oil from our territory. We feed the coffers of this country.
We want to employ and beg that you have a duty to play in this present condition now. Because if we are not careful in this country, maybe they will not have even money to pay teachers or to do any reasonable thing. I know, or all of us here know, that Nigeria is facing hardship. For people to even survive, a bag of rice is now 100 and something thousand. But we are going to do our part locally, but you are there at the top.
The increase in Nigeria's oil production will no doubt help in boosting the per capita income of the country as it works towards achieving 2 million barrels per day. From Baramatu Kingdom, Daily Fast reporting for Galactic TV News.
A group under the aegis of concerned Edo ladies have protested to the State Secretariat of the Nigerian Union of Journalists over the surge in cult-related killings in the state. The group, clad in black with placards of different descriptions, called for an end to the killings, saying they have been made widows. Addressing journalists, the convener of the group expressed displeasure over the cult-related killings in Edo State.
We girls, we came together to put a note of appeal to pay appeal. I read to the Nigeria Union of Journalists, appeal for peace and unity in Edo State. A call to your good office. I am writing to you with a heavy heart regarding the recent tragic event unfolding in Edo State.
Killing my dog too much. For night, I don't feel good to sleep again. I'm going to look my door whether I lock how many times. So I beg, that would cry more NUJ. May they come and beg, may they support us. We cannot do it alone by ourselves. Exactly. Almost all us in those states killing now they happen. Since last week now, we have lost
Correspondent Chairman of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Edo Chapter, Comrade Festus Alanke, had showed the women of the support of journalists in the state.
Of the journalists in Edo State, we want to say we are 100% support of this movement. Yes, this is really very disturbing. And we've been having it before. I think this one is one of the ones. Yes. Apart from the killings, it's also affecting the economy of the state. I went to New Benin. Everywhere was free. I tried to find out what was going on. He said, now this court war, and all of them ran away.
Honorable Ladi Adebutu, a PDP chieftain in Ogun State, has regained freedom from the Department of State Services DSS. Adebutu was allegedly invited and subsequently detained yesterday in lieu of his alleged involvement in some security breaches in the last local government election held in the state on Saturday. He stated that his resolve to see an independent local government through financial autonomy remains sacrosanct. He was released at about 7 a.m. on Tuesday, 19th November 2024 by the Department of State Services DSS in Abeokuta, following an invitation to answer to various spurious accusations, all arising from the November 16 local government election in Ogun State. He said that the purpose was to silence him as the voice of the opposition. He said that his contention that those elections were not free and fair is his fundamental right to free speech and free thought. President Bola Tinubu has been urged to intensify efforts in reducing suffering, hardship, and all forms of security challenges facing the country. These calls were made at the 9th Muslim Ummah of Southwest Nigeria Muslim General Assembly, which took place at the Central Mosque of the University of Ibadan. In his remarks at the event, the Oyo State Governor was represented by his deputy, Barrister Bayo Lawal charged the federal government to spend the gains made on subsidy removal and security, infrastructure development, electrification, especially projects generating employment. The Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Ahmadu Sa'ed Abubakar, while addressing the assembly, pointed out that if people practice their religion righteously, most of the challenges facing the nation will not arise in the first place.
Problem we have in Nigeria, issue of insecurity sitting there, and it's staring us in the face. And we have to really confront insecurity headlong so that all of us will live in peace. Southwest Muslim community, typified by Muslim, has a lot to do in terms of fostering unity.
We are in the religion, we are Muslims, we are Christians, we are, I won't say Babalao, anybody else. But that religion is not in our hearts. Because if you are a good Muslim, you will not go and kidnap somebody, you will not go and kill somebody, you will not go and bomb somebody, you will not go and take innocent person's life. When you know what Islam said about taking an individual's life. So while we are in religions, as Christians, Muslims, whatever, but the religion is not in our hearts.
Is there something missing? Why are we becoming a more corrupt, more terrible, more hardened, more wicked society, when at the same time we are becoming more religious and we are doing so many things for the faith?
On the proposed tax reform bill, I urge Mr. President to listen to the outcries from various groups and sections of the country. The current economic situation in the country requires serious caution to handle. The government should show more human feelings and put measures in place to mitigate the general suffering brought on the citizenry by some of the economic policies.
Governor of Benue State has approved a minimum wage of 77,000 for workers in the state. The governor announced this at the State Secretariat after a meeting with organized labor representatives. He also stated that the remaining 3 months of the 5-month backlog of arrears promised to the union will be paid as budgeted in the 2024 budget, along with the minimum wage effective November 2024. He emphasized that his government is committed to serving the common man, as he will do everything legitimately possible to ensure that the workers of Benue State are properly taken care of.
This pronouncement, I was one out of the 36 governors, the very first person to give my willingness, the state's willingness, to go with the swing of the new minimum wage. And I'm happy to announce that the new minimum wage of 75,000 naira is being approved.
We are not singing praises of you, Your Excellency, but we know that since you came on board, we have witnessed tremendous change in Benue State. As far as the civil service was concerned, before your emergence, we've had a series of problems in the state. But since you came, no civil servant in Benue State has received salaries beyond 23rd of every month.
I'm so happy as the chairman of NSC and as the chairman of NAS level, because this thing has been lingering for quite a long time, and not just only 75,000 naira. He has also signed the 30,000 naira adjustment or minimum wage that was on the ground.
Edo State government has re-echoed the ban of all revenue collections in the state, while warning those involved in illegal collections to desist or face the wrath of the law. This was disclosed by the Secretary to the State Government, Barrister Musa Ikelo, while briefing journalists in Benin City, the state capital. Addressing journalists, the Edo SG, flanked by the Attorney General and Secretary of the Revenue Board, said only licensed revenue collectors are authorized to collect revenue. The State Attorney General also reiterated the position of the Secretary to the state government as he warned of the legal implications.
While the suspension of all non-commissioned officials in the collection of revenue remains in place, henceforth, only statutory and licensed revenue collectors are mandated to operate and collect revenue on behalf of government, especially in motor parks and other spheres of commercial activities.
Revenue collection is a matter of law. It's not a matter of politics. And this governor, Senator Monday Okwewolo, is committed to following the law in whatever he has set out to do in realizing his vision for Edo State. And that was why, when that statement was issued, it was in recognition of the fact that there are illegal revenue collections who go about harassing the people of Edo State.
The process of engaging people to collect revenue is open to anybody who wants to do that. You apply, if you meet to the conditions, we engage you by issuing you a letter of engagement, which is renewable. It's not a permanent thing. We renew it from time to time, in fact, on a yearly basis, some 6 months. So as it is now, anybody who wants to apply for that exercise can apply to internal revenue.
World Toilet Day, celebrated annually on November 19, aims to address the global sanitation crisis and reach the 3.5 billion people who lack access to safely managed sanitation. To this end, the United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF has emphasized the importance of proper sanitation and hygiene, highlighting efforts to promote toilet use and prevent open defecation. UNICEF WASH specialist Monday Johnson recommends behavioral change as a key factor in ending the practice of open defecation. He also urged everyone to become advocate for ending open defecation and called for a bylaw to be enacted to ensure that in every council in Nigeria, any person that is defecating in the open is sanctioned.
Our behavior to stop open defecation, to imbibe positive wash behavior, that is water, sanitation and hygiene behavior, definitely it will lead to the elimination of these diseases that have already been earmarked by WHO, that diseases that can be eliminated by a combination of chemotherapy and also behavioral change, which is what open defecation is trying to promote.
And I'll move over to the foreign desk for more news.
This is news from the international scene. Russia says Ukraine has fired US-supplied long-range missiles into the country a day after Washington gave its permission for such attacks. Ukraine used the Army Tactical Missile System ATACMS in a strike on Russia's Bryansk region this morning. The Ministry of Defense in Moscow said 5 missiles were shot down and 1 damaged, with these fragments causing a fire at the military facility in the region, it said in a statement. The strike represents the first time the long-range missile have been used on Russia's internationally recognized territory and comes shortly after Washington signaled Ukraine had permission to fire the ATACMS into Russia. On Monday, Moscow said any such attack would prompt an appropriate and tangible response. A fire caused by falling debris from one of the missiles was quickly extinguished and there were no casualties, it said. Ukraine's military earlier confirmed that it had struck an ammunition warehouse in the Russian region of Bryansk, but it did not specify whether ATACMS were used. It said the attack on a depot around 100 kilometers from the border near the town of Karashev caused 12 secondary explosions. Meanwhile, earlier on Tuesday, Putin approved changes to Russia's nuclear doctrine, setting out new conditions under which the country would consider using its arsenal. It now says an attack from a non-nuclear state, if backed by nuclear power, will be treated as a joint assault on Russia. Israel's Prime Minister says it hit part of Iran's nuclear program last week, despite pleas from the US not to do so during the strikes it carried out in response to a missile attack. It's not a secret. It was published, Benjamin Netanyahu told the Israeli parliament. There is a specific component in their nuclear program that was hit. He gave no details, but last week Axios reported that a nuclear weapon research facility making plastic explosive at the Parchin military complex was destroyed. There was no immediate comment from Iran, but it had previously said the Israeli strikes caused limited damage to radar system and that its nuclear activities are entirely peaceful. Iran has also insisted that it does not seek nuclear weapons, although evidence collected by the International Atomic Energy Agency (IAEA) suggests that until 2003 it conducted activities relevant to the development of a bomb. The agency says Iran has not yet answered outstanding questions related to its nuclear activity. The IAEA also says Iran has produced enough highly enriched uranium to build several nuclear weapons since the US abandoned the nuclear deal and reinstated crippling sanctions 6 years ago with Netanyahu's support. Turkish airstrikes in struck northeast Syria have cut off access to electricity and water for more than 1 million people in what experts say may be a violation of international law. Turkey carried out more than 100 attacks between October 2019 and January 2024 on oil fields, gas facilities and power stations in the Kurdish-held Autonomous Administration of Northern East Syria, AANES, according to data collected by newsmen. The attacks have added to the humanitarian crisis in a region reeling from a year-long civil war and 4 years of extreme drought exacerbated by climate change. Water had already been scarce, but attacks on electricity infrastructure in October last year shut off power to the region's main water station in Aluk, and it has not been working since. On to visit there, newsmen witnessed people struggling to get water. Turkey said it had targeted the sources of income and capabilities of Kurdish separatist group it regards as terrorists. It said that it was well known that there was a drought in the area, adding the poor water management and neglected infrastructure had made things worse. The AANES has previously accused Turkey of seeking to destroy their people's existence. Still on the international scene, Germany's defense minister Boris Pistorius has said damage to 2 undersea cables in the Baltic Sea looks like an act of sabotage and a hybrid action without knowing who is to blame. A 1,170-kilometer telecommunications cable between Finland and Germany was severed in the early hours of Monday, while a 218-kilometer internet link between Lithuania and Sweden's Gotland Island stopped working on Sunday. The incident came at a time of heightened tension with Russia, and Pistorius said nobody believes that these cables were cut accidentally. A series of incidents involving Baltic pipelines have heightened fears of sabotage since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Germany and Finland have both said that they are deeply concerned by the severing of the Sea Lion 1 cable communications cable, adding that Europe's security is threatened by Russia's war, but also from hybrid warfare by malicious actors. Finnish telecoms and cybersecurity firm Cinia said its cable may have been severed by an outside force. These kinds of breaks don't just happen in these waters without an outside impact, a spokesperson told local media. Senior chief executive said the damage had taken place close to Sweden's Åland Island and could take 5 to 15 days to repair. A Hong Kong court has sentenced dozens of pro-democracy leaders 2 years in jail for subversion following a controversial national security trial. Benny Tai, 60, Joshua Wong, 28, were among the so-called Hong Kong 47 group of activists and lawmakers who were involved in a plan to pick opposition candidates for local election. Dai received 10 years while Wang received more than 4 years. A total of 45 people were jailed for conspiring to commit subversion. 2 of the defendants were acquitted in May. This was the biggest trial under the National Security Law (NSL) which China imposed on the city shortly after explosive pro-democracy protests in 2019. Hundreds of thousands took to the street in a month-long standoff against Beijing, triggered by a proposed government treaty that would have allowed extradition to mainland China. The protests quickly grew to reflect wider demands for democratic reform. Observers say the NSL and the trial's outcome have significantly weakened the city's pro-democracy movement and rule of law, allowing China to cement its control on the former British colony. Lastly, on the international scene, Gadai Irish police investigating riots which broke out in Dublin almost a year ago have released CCTV images of 99 people they want to speak to about the disorder. The riots began shortly after 3 children and a school care assistant were stabbed outside the city centre primary school on 23 November 2023. During the hours of discord which followed the attack, 13 officers were injured, several vehicles were set on fire and shops were damaged and looted. Ahead of the first anniversary of the riot, Gadai have appealed for public help to identify 99 persons of interest in the bid to rule them in or out of the investigation. Patrick McMenamin said Guardia was seeking assistance in order that they can bring to justice everyone who contributed to the rioting and violent disorder of the 23rd of November last year. He added that the 99 individuals have been identified as being present at the city centre and having played a role in the events of that day. Guardia have also asked anyone who recognizes themselves in the CCTV still to make contact with the investigation team. The images have been released on the Gadai website after officers thought through more than 17,000 hours of CCTV footage. And that's it from the international scene.
Now for more update and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with us on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/GalaxyTVNews. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/GalaxyTV. Remember to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Galaxy TV. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live update and comment, as you can easily scan our IG QR code. And that's all we have on Galaxy Primetime News. Thank you so much for being a part of the news. My name is Nenwarangi Mazaka. Goodbye.